Hey everybody, and welcome to Front Porch Comedy, episode 10. I'm your host, Scott Castellanos. Remember to use that hashtag can't stop comedy. Comedians and artists and everybody keep pushing that content out. This shouldn't stop us. Let's get more creative and get as much as we can. I'm loving that we're seeing this. I'm seeing more and more content on all the comedy pages. We're seeing virtual open mics. We're seeing, other kind of comedy shows, sketches, funny posts on Instagram stories and stuff like that. I'm loving it. Remember, if you want to post something, feel free to use the hashtag can't stop comedy. If you want to send me something to post, I'm always happy to post it. Can't stop comedy. My kids told me to remind people that if they do go to my YouTube channel, to hit that subscribe button, as they say. So hit that subscribe button. So I guess that just means you'll automatically get my videos right there in your feed or your post for YouTube. So, all right. So I'm gonna get on to my today's opening day. So I got my Cubbies hat on. I know we can't really be doing it, but I got an old Cubbies hat on for opening day. So shout out to baseball. Yeah, we're missing you guys today. Speaking of shout outs, now it's time for my shout out segment. And now that we're getting a little bit of, I guess we're picking up a little steam on this little show here. I want to give a little disclaimer. All the small businesses and companies that I give shout outs to, they've never asked me to do this for them. These are just companies that I happen to frequent or that I, use their services, or I've heard great things about their services. And I'm just want to really support the local small business community as much as I can, because, that's, they really are the ones that are struggling through this. And I want us to, once we get back up and running, let's hit those hard. And the ones that we can't support while we are shut down, let's do that if we can, guys. So without further ado, the first shout out for our small business shout out tonight goes to Dogs Love Running of Barrington. I know a lot of people may not be using dog walking services at the moment, but if you do need one because you're an essential worker, hit these guys up if you're out in that Barrington area. Great with dogs. They're always great with your pooches. And then when you do get back out there to work, hit them up. I'll put everything in my post that you can contact them or go to their page. And, hit them up, guys. Dogs Love Running of Barrington. And then my comedy shout outs, again, nobody's asking me to post anything for them. These are just people that I happen to like. Whether I think they're hilarious, on the scene here, people I've worked with, people that have just been kind to me over the years. Like I said, the Chicago area community for comedy is extremely supportive. So I want to do what I can to support some of them too. So tonight I'm going to be giving my shout out to David Diego Rodriguez, who used the hashtag can't stop comedy. And he's got something out there posted for everyone for a show he did at the Comedy Shrine, I believe. And the host was Ronnie Ray, actually. That's Ronnie Ray's show that he was on, and Ronnie Ray was my shout-out from last night. So, shout-out again, David Diego Rodriguez. I met him at the Brower House open mic in Lombard, so hopefully that'll get going again, and then I'll be able to see you sometime soon. So, to get into it, I got the old notebook out again. This is the original notebook that I had, and this is the first bit that I wrote and went to the Whip Theater here in Edison Park. This is the first bit that I ever tried to work out. I think I gave up on it a little early because I was very green, and it's, you don't always get the response that you want when you're just working out new material in general, but especially when you're really, really young, or young in comedy, I guess I should say. So I pulled that out, so I'm going to see if this works. So definitely give me feedback, guys. I would love it. So without further ado, disclaimer, this one's a little raunchy. So, I went raunchy in the beginning, a little blue, I guess you'd say, when I just started doing comedy. So anyways, without further ado, everyone, here's my bit. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Scott Castellanos. It's nice to see everybody out there. So I'm up here doing comedy, just living out my midlife crisis. Lots of people do different things with their midlife crisis. Some people play sports, but if you've ever seen me in person, you guys can tell I'm not built for that. Short and fat does not equal sports, especially not when you're in your 40s and pulling a muscle is easy enough. When you don't have any muscles, you pull other things that you really don't want to deal with. I'm too much of a pussy to get a motorcycle, so that wasn't going to happen. Way too tired to date a 22-year-old, that's for sure. I definitely couldn't handle that. And, while my penis size is small enough, I can't afford a sports car. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. So I decided I'm going to get in front of a bunch of strangers in bars and tell them my deepest, darkest personal secrets. So, I'm a bit of a perv from way back when I was back in junior high. Now, I grew up in the 80s mostly, and in the 80s and, I'm sure the 90s, and you've seen it a little bit again even now, there was always this character on the TV shows and movies. He was like this swinging bachelor, like Larry from Three's Company, if you guys are familiar with that show, or Quagmire on Family Guy for some of the younger people out there. And one of the things they would always come up with these crazy scenarios, and they'd always get the married guys at the office would all gather around so they could live vicariously through his sexual adventures. And they'd always, be like, hey, Bob, I saw you go home with that brunette from accounting. What happened? And he'd always come up with some crazy scenario, and they'd be like, oh, man, like something horrible or something amazing happened. He'd always be like, hey, let's just say there's a hockey mask, a fire extinguisher, and a horse saddle. You guys do the math. I never got it. Here I am in junior high. My biggest worry was covering up my erection from walking from one class to the next class. And my mind is working. I'm like, so who wore the mask? What did they do with the saddle? Did someone wear the saddle? Did they use the saddle? Were they on the saddle? And then what the hell happened with the fire extinguisher? Was it some sort of bukkake scene? I had no idea. I had no point of reference. My biggest raunch at that time was, when we'd get the Sunday paper, I'd sneak out the lingerie, the underwear part of the Sears ad in the Sunday newspaper. It'd be me, the ad, the bathroom. Sunday nights were awesome at my place. Anywho, but I never understood these things, and nobody ever wants to live vicariously through the married guy in his 40s. So, and what is everyone going to gather around and be like, hey, Scott, tell me about your weekend. How was that? Huh? And I'll be like, hey, guys, let's just say there was a sock, a high school yearbook, and a remote control involved. You do the math. There's no math. Everybody knows that old tired scene, right? You ball up the sock, you gag yourself, stick the remote up your ass, and jerk off to the high school gymnastics team. That's my time, everybody, and that was my first bit I ever wrote and performed at the Whip. So, sure can use some work, but I think it's worth trying to revive. All right, guys, remember, #Can'tStopComedy. Remember the shout-outs, David Diego Rodriguez and Dogs Love Running of Barrington. Have a good one, guys. Oh, as my kids say, hit that subscribe button.